Ma'am, you really need to leave this seat. The words hung in the air like stale cabin pressure. Katie looked up slowly, her eyes calm but focused, as if she was trying to decide whether this was some kind of misunderstanding, or something uglier. She didn't say a word. Not yet. The flight attendant towered over her, blonde bun pulled tight, lips thin, her name tag reading JEN in bold caps. Jen's voice was coded in that fake politeness airlines teach their crew, but her tone cracked with tension. Around them, the soft chatter of passengers faded, replaced by glances and hushed whispers. Katie didn't flinch. Her posture remained perfect, legs crossed, a glass of sparkling wine in hand, silver watch catching the cabin light. This seat is for business class passengers only, Jen pressed on, her voice a little louder now. Katie blinked. Slowly. It is. Jen paused, caught off guard. A flicker of confusion crossed her face, or was it disbelief? She scanned the ticket on Katie's tray table as if looking for an error. There wasn't one. I'll need to double-check with the cabin supervisor, Jen said, already turning. Her steps were sharp, heels clicking against the floor as she disappeared toward the galley. Katie sipped her drink. Passengers were definitely watching now. Row 3. Row 4. A guy in a hoodie took out his phone, not even pretending to be subtle. And Katie? She leaned her head back, eyes on the overhead lights. Her face was calm, but her chest was tight. What is this? She thought. What exactly did I do wrong? Katie sat still, her back barely touching the seat, as if moving might give someone permission to remove her. The air felt thick now. Tense. The kind of silence that creeps in when people are watching something they know they probably shouldn't, but can't stop. A man 2 rows up whispered to his wife. Someone in the aisle seat turned their phone just enough to film discreetly, or so they thought. Katie noticed everything. Every sideways glance, every uneasy shift. She wasn't new to this feeling. The spotlight. The questioning. The quiet suspicion that you didn't quite belong, even when everything about you proved that you did. She'd experienced it in boardrooms, in restaurants, in 5-star hotels. But never at 35,000 feet. The curtain to the galley rustled. Jen returned, this time with another flight attendant, younger, darker-skinned, visibly uncomfortable. Her name tag read Sabrina. Jen spoke first. We've double-checked, and unfortunately, there must be a mistake with your ticket. You'll need to deplane so we can sort it out at the gate. Katie turned to Sabrina, locking eyes. Is this real? She asked, her voice quiet, steady. Sabrina hesitated, her eyes darted to Jen, then back to Katie. She opened her mouth to speak, but was cut off by a sudden voice over the intercom. Excuse me, this is your captain speaking. Could the passenger in seat 3A, Miss Katie Williams, please remain seated? You're exactly where you're supposed to be. The entire cabin froze. Katie didn't move. But her smile finally showed, slow, small, razor sharp. Jen turned pale. And then, the curtain opened again. But this time, it wasn't just a crew member walking in. Heels clicked against the floor with slow, deliberate rhythm. All eyes turned. The woman who stepped through the curtain didn't wear a flight uniform, no scarf, no name tag, no clipboard. Just a sleek black pantsuit, an air of authority that hit like turbulence, and an expression carved from stone. She didn't glance at the passengers. She didn't need to. She was Marilyn Stone, co-founder of Ether Airlines, and her presence was not for show. Jen's posture stiffened like a cadet in trouble. Sabrina took a small step back, as if gravity had shifted. Katie? She raised an eyebrow, amused. Marilyn, she said coolly. Katie. Marilyn gave a small nod. Sorry for the delay. Jen's jaw dropped. Her eyes ping-ponged between the two women, like her brain was trying to reboot. Wait, you know her? She asked, voice cracking. Marilyn slowly turned to her. That's Katie Williams. My goddaughter. A pause. And daughter of the owner of this airline. Dead silence. You could hear a pin drop. Or the guy in row 5 whispering, "Oh shit," under his breath. Katie leaned forward slightly, resting her chin on her hand. "Now, Jen," she said, her voice smooth and sharp like glass. "Would you like to explain to Marilyn why you were trying to throw me off her plane?" Jen opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Her face turned a blotchy shade of red. Sweat beaded along her hairline. The cameras were definitely rolling now, and not just the ones in hands. The flight's security footage would have everything. Sabrina looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. Marilyn let the moment stretch. Then she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You have 30 seconds to go pack your things." Jen didn't argue. She just turned and walked down the aisle, trembling slightly. A quiet gasp echoed from the back of the plane. And just like that, the balance of power shifted. Katie exhaled. But the night was far from over. By the time the plane landed in London, the video had over 3.2 million views. Somewhere between Nova Scotia and the Irish Sea, the footage hit Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, and Instagram like a meteor. Katie's face. Jen's face. That exact moment Marilyn said, "You have 30 seconds to pack your things." People had turned it into GIFs, remixes, and memes before the plane even began descent. Hashtag Seat 3A. Hashtag Ether Airlines. Hashtag Flying While Black. Hashtag Katie Williams. All trending. All exploding. Katie scrolled through the storm on her phone, sitting calmly in the back of a sleek black car en route to her London hotel. The tinted windows blurred the city outside, but her thoughts were crystal clear. She wasn't mad. Not anymore. She was focused. She clicked open a DM request, a journalist from The Guardian. Another from BuzzFeed. Her assistant had already forwarded emails from CNN, BBC, and The Shade Room. The plane incident was no longer a moment. It was a movement. Her phone buzzed again. "Mom, are you okay? Do I need to fly in?" Katie smiled softly. "Katie, I'm good. It's handled. But we need to talk about your head of HR." The car pulled to a stop. Her driver, a quiet Nigerian man in his 50s, opened the door for her. He looked nervous. "Miss Williams," he said carefully. "I just want to say, what you did. That was powerful." He smiled. "My daughter saw the video. She's proud." Katie paused. For the first time that day, her throat caught. "Thank you," she said, voice quieter now. "Tell her I said that means everything." But as she stepped into the hotel, flanked by cameras and flashes, a new notification popped up on her phone. Statement from former Ether Airlines flight attendant goes live at 9 p.m. Jen was about to speak. And the world was still listening. 9 p.m. Live stream time. Jen sat in front of a plain white wall. No makeup, no lighting, just a shaky phone camera and the kind of face people wear when they're about to say something they don't really want to. Her eyes were red. Not from crying, though. From rehearsing. Katie watched from her hotel room, arms folded, glass of wine untouched on the table beside her. The screen was muted for the first few seconds, she didn't need the sound. She was watching body language. And Jen was squirming. The audio clicked on. "First of all, I just want to say I'm not a racist." Katie's eyes narrowed. "I've worked for this airline for over 13 years. I've served all kinds of people. And what happened on that flight, it wasn't about race. It was about protocol. About confusion. I didn't know who she was. I didn't have the full information." Someone in the live stream comments typed. "She said all kinds of people, grimacing face, grimacing face, grimacing face." Another. Girl, just say sorry and log off. I feel like I'm being targeted now, Jen continued. The internet doesn't know the pressure flight attendants are under. The hours. The stress. I made a mistake, sure. But does that mean I deserve to be fired and humiliated? Katie let out a breath through her nose. There it was. Not an apology. A performance. Jen wasn't owning the harm. She was trying to flip the narrative, from accountability to victimhood. Her assistant texted. You want to respond? Or stay quiet? Katie stared at the screen a moment longer. Jen looked tired, sure. But not sorry. And Katie? She wasn't angry anymore. She was ready. She typed out one sentence. Post this. I didn't lose my seat. She lost her job. That's the difference between power and privilege. Katie Williams. She hit send. The internet cracked open again. But not everyone wanted Katie to keep rising. And someone inside Ether, had just leaked an email chain. An email with her name in it. Subject, urgent, passenger in 3A. From, redacted, at etherc.com. To, internal.operations@etherc.com. Date, 2 days before the flight. Katie's fingers froze above her keyboard. The leaked email was sitting on the screen, forwarded to her by a journalist from Vice. No explanation. Just the raw file. No spin. It was short. Cold. And unmistakably strategic. We flagged a passenger on flight A213 to London, name, Katie Williams. There is a possibility of PR sensitivity due to recent board discussions. Recommendation, low-key monitoring. Minimal engagement. Let's avoid headlines. Katie reread the last line 3 times. Avoid headlines. She was never supposed to be seen. The confrontation. The video. Jen's outburst. It was never random. Her presence in business class wasn't the problem. Her visibility was. She stood up, heart pounding, pacing across the hotel suite. Her assistant, Jordan, picked up on the first ring. Jordan, someone at Ether was watching me before I even stepped on that plane. What? They flagged me. Internally. Days before. That's not security protocol. That's PR suppression. Katie stopped by the window, staring out at the London skyline. Find out who sent that email, she said. I don't care how long it takes. Meanwhile, back in New York, board members were already circling. Ether's stock had dropped 2% since the video. The press was calling it a branding disaster. And inside the company, someone, or multiple someones, were working to spin this. Not against Jen. Against Katie. She was too loud. Too poised. Too powerful. They didn't like that she'd turned their plane into her platform. And now, a new rumor was spreading inside HQ. What if we can prove she staged it? Katie had played defense. Now it was time for offense. Ether Airlines headquarters, Manhattan, 47th floor. One long obsidian table. 12 seats. 11 men. 1 woman. And now, Katie. She walked into the boardroom like she owned it. Because technically, part of her family did. Her mother had built this company from the ground up. But that didn't stop the room from looking at her like an intruder. No one smiled. Except her. Before we begin, she said, pulling out a chair at the far end, just want to thank whoever leaked that email. Saved me the trouble of asking nicely. A few of the board members shifted uncomfortably. One of them cleared his throat, Howard, a man with a permanently fake tan and a history of cutting DEI budgets. Ms. Williams, he began, this is a private board-level discussion. It's not standard to include. Neither is illegally flagging a stakeholder for being too visible, she cut in, tone icy. But here we are. Silence. I've seen the emails. I know there was internal chatter before I even boarded that plane. And I'm guessing one of you hoped it would stay quiet, or better yet, that I'd stay quiet. She leaned in. But you forgot something. Pause. I don't play quiet. Jordan, standing just behind her, opened his tablet and turned it toward the board. On the screen, footage from multiple angles inside the cabin, synced with audio, time-stamped, labeled. Not just what the public saw. Everything. Legal's seen this, Katie continued. So has the press. We've got statements from 2 other crew members. And we're not suing for defamation. Beat. We're suing for targeted racial profiling and corporate negligence. Howard tried to speak again. Katie didn't let him. I'm not here to beg for an apology. I'm here to change the structure. Her voice was sharper now. She wasn't performing. She was declaring. The next time someone like me walks onto one of your planes, they won't be flagged. They'll be welcomed. And if they're not, I promise you, it won't be another viral video. She stood. It'll be a class action. And then she walked out. Back in the elevator, Katie didn't say a word. She didn't have to. Her phone buzzed. Jordan, we just got a response from Jen. She wants to meet. In person. A quiet cafe in Brooklyn. Rain tapped gently against the windows. Soft jazz played in the background, as if the world didn't know 2 lives were about to collide again, one more time, and maybe the last. Katie arrived first. No assistants. No entourage. Just her and the raincoat draped over her chair. Jen walked in 5 minutes late. Hoodie. Hair messy. No makeup. No defense left. She spotted Katie and froze for half a second, like she expected to be screamed at. Or worse, ignored. Katie looked up. Sit. Jen obeyed. For a moment, there was only silence between them. 2 women. 2 sides of a storm. Then Jen spoke. You didn't have to go that far. Katie tilted her head. Didn't I? I lost everything, Jen said. My job. My apartment. My name. People recognize me in the street now, for one moment. One mistake. Katie's stare didn't soften. You didn't make a mistake, she said quietly. You made a decision. Jen looked down. I wasn't thinking. No, Katie cut in. Calm. I see. You were thinking exactly what people like me have to prepare for every single day. You saw a black woman in a seat you didn't think she belonged in, and your instinct was to remove her. Jen didn't reply. Her hands were shaking. Katie leaned in. You were never the real problem, Jen. You were the symptom. That landed. Katie reached into her bag, pulled out a small envelope, and slid it across the table. Jen stared. What's this? An offer. A speaking tour. You talk about what you did, honestly. No victim narrative. No PR coaching. Just truth. Jen looked stunned. You want me to work with you? I don't want anything, Katie said, standing. But the world doesn't change through punishment alone. It changes when people see what bias looks like, and how to unlearn it. She turned to leave, but paused. You don't have to take it. Jen picked up the envelope with trembling hands. But if you do? Katie said without turning back. Don't waste it.